Hello and welcome to my video on creating a mock design from the Tantive Boarding Lego set and making it into a diorama. So yeah, I've recently been getting into mocks of Star Wars ships, but mostly, in fact, up until now, they've all been alternative builds of existing sets. So behind me up here, I've got the Ghost, Stinger Mantis. There's a few things up here that I've built from Rebrickable instructions that are literally just complete alt builds of other sets. They're only using components from the set. I mean, there's leftover parts. So it's not using everything, but you know that. So you buy a Millennium Falcon, a MIDI scale, you make a Ghost out of it. You don't need any other parts, that sort of thing. And those are fairly easy to follow and understand. When you go onto Rebrickable, you can buy the instructions. It says it's an alternate build of this thing, and you just follow the instructions, and you're good to go. But yeah, I've started to recently build some of the diorama sets. They're just here. The glare of my screen is in the way here, but and I wanted to take the Tantive boarding set and try to change that into a diorama. So if we look at the set that I'm talking about here, you'll see that it's not a diorama. It's a play set. There's playable functions and bits and pieces, and it just looks a bit ugly at the front, and I kind of want this scene to go with the other sets that I've got. So to start doing that, I found the set that I wanted on Rebrickable. So I just did a quick search for Tantive diorama on here, and there's quite a few different alternative options to go for, and so whichever one you pick, the process of like getting to where you want to be is going to be broadly the same. The one that I've gone for, I think, is this one here. The reason why is because they've said, well, it's the same dimensions, and the base is the same dimensions as a regular diorama set, which is what I'm after for sure, because I want it to go up on the shelf next to the others. And it also has some flexibility here in terms of what type of doors you want. You can have closed doors, and you can have like the flamey burst through doors, or you can just leave them open, which is really nice. But yeah, as a starting point, this is going to be an alt build of the boarding Tantive, and we can see on the site here, it literally is telling us that here, boarding the Tantive is it's a modification for this. And what you often see on these things, and the issue that I had as well to start with, is how do I know what I need to take my set and make it into this? And it's something that, I mean, if I look in the comments here, there's probably somebody asking that, and I did that myself. But yeah, I mean, it's honestly, the Rebrickable site actually has all the tools in there to help you do that. It's not super intuitive, but it actually is not that bad at all. So if you look on the site, if you're looking at an alternate build, you have the compare thing here, and that's going to be normally on anything where it's saying it's an alternate build. You can look at the compare, and you'll look at the instructions for the mock versus the actual build that we're building alternative one from. And normally, like, if it's a full alternative build, you're not going to see any extra parts going on, but we know here we're going to need the base and like extra parts for our build here. And if we look, we get a list here of these. On the left are the parts that are in our diorama, but they're not present in the donor set, if you like. So we're gonna look here, and we're gonna see that we need to actually acquire 172 parts. There's 55 unique parts that we're going to need, and they're all in this list. So you could stop here, you just go and take this list and buy all the bits. But Rebrickable actually has a bunch of tools to help with that as well, and I'm going to get into that too. So firstly, we want this part list here, so we're going to export it. So click export, and click on the, I've just clicked page up, click on the Rebrickable CSV, and we'll download that. And that is the starting point for our files that we're going to need. So you can't see my files, obviously. I'm not sharing that, but I'm just going to save it as my my parts list here, and it's going to download. So I've just downloaded that. Okay, so now I have a list of all the parts that I need in a Rebrickable CSV format, which might not be great for you. There are other options there. You can just turn it into a HTML grid, or you can do some other stuff here. There's one for Brickstore, so you can actually just stick that into Brickstore and buy parts from there. But we're going to stick in Rebrickable. We're going to go to our My Lego section, and we're going to go to My Custom List, and we're going to create a list in My Custom Lists here. And for now, no, let's just do what we want. So this is going to be the extra parts that we need for our diorama. So extra diorama parts, and the type I'm going to put on here is I'm going to put it on to buy, and I'm going to save it. And then this part here is a bit confusing, but essentially this page is our list. And I'm going to do an import of parts from the file that I just saved. So I'm going to go to that CSV export that we just created for the let me see if I can do CSV. Start CSV. Rebrickable parts, right? Sorry. So we've now loaded the parts list, and this screen here isn't technically loading a file. It's saying I want to bring parts onto my list. So if I select the file here and click this append parts button, it's going to go through and bring all of those parts on. You can see behind, they've just appeared down there. We have a little warning that's telling us that a part on that list has been replaced with a different part. The reason being that it's just not something that's a different mold, a fixed mold. So they have different part numbers, but they're the same. They're the same part, so don't worry about that. So I close the import window now. I have this full inventory of the parts that I need to buy. But one thing that I'm going to do, and you might not want to do this, is I'm going to take this 25th anniversary block, and I'm just going to delete that off my list. I don't need that part. I actually have several left over. As I was saying, I've been making mocks out of some of the MIDI scale ships, so actually I have a few of those if I want them anyway. So I'm going to keep this list, and now we can do a couple of things with this list. The first thing that I thought of, and that you might be thinking as well, is, well, what if I just buy a diorama set? Then I have the base in that diorama set to build, right? So I had a look into that. I mean, I can show you if we literally go to the compare tool. Where is the compare tool? So compare sets here. If we go to compare sets, we can actually pick our custom list on the left. So we can say the set that we're comparing is custom list, and we're going to compare it, and we're going to search for a diorama here. So let's say, like, we're going to compare to the trench run diorama. That's got a black base on it, right? So we'll compare that. And is it working? Yeah. So what I was finding is that there's a very small amount of overlap between the extra parts that we need and almost any of the dioramas. Like, because of, I guess, the way that each one is designed individually, some of them have got room to slide in and out parts. Some of them have got built-in forest, and some of them are built up. But so they're just all different. So there's not a lot of overlap. So actually, even though the dimensions are going to be similar, I don't think that it's worth grabbing a diorama set to try to complete the parts that we need. So I did look into that. So if I go back to our custom list, pick the diorama, this is to buy. There's actually just literally a tab on this thing here that says buy parts. And if we go into buy parts, we're going to get a load of options. I'm going to switch off Bricklink here, but we can, this is like finding places where we can buy our parts from. It's only looking for me in the UK, but you can turn it on to look for any region, and it uses your region. And also I'm going to include secondhand, but that's completely up to you. And it goes away and it finds a shop that has the best amount of parts for you, and the prices. So right here at the top of my list is this shop here. For £17.28 I can get 92% of my parts. So I can click add to cart now, and that will literally stick all of these parts onto a cart for this store and just let me buy them. And then there's 8% of my parts left over. So if I want to try and get everything, I can now click on this little green grid here, and this is showing me the parts that are in stock and the parts that aren't in stock. And from here, for the parts that are not in stock, I can add to another list. So I can click a custom list, I can say new custom list, and I can say leftover needed parts and add all of those. Okay, so now I buy these, I buy my 157 parts from here, and I go back to my custom list. Actually, I think we need to refresh the page, and we have this other list here. I'm gonna just edit it quickly to set it to buy, because I want it to go underneath my to buy list here. So the leftover needed parts that I need are 14 of, and again I can do exactly the same thing. I can literally go buy sets, no, buy parts, choose what I want, and it turns out that there is another shop here that's got 57%, and so on. So we can just keep doing that until we get exactly what we want. So I'm going to get on and purchase all of these parts, and also the other thing we obviously need to do is get hold of the Tantive boarding set, which I fortunately managed to find in box, like brand new, on a Facebook group for £35. So I'm going to be trying to keep a running total of the cost of this for me as well. So we've got 35, and once I've bought all the parts, I'll tally those up as well, and we'll keep a track of how much this is actually going to cost me to do as well. But yeah, next time you see me, we'll hopefully have everything in hand ready to start building. All right, welcome back. It's 3 days since we went through the whole ordering process, and we've got everything we need here. So we got the set, and to start with, this is, I opened this, but it was in box when it arrived, and that was £35. And then we've got the orders from the brick stores, from the Rebrickable stores, which were both on Brickable, but they were both separate. There's two, I had to do 2 orders. I think I got around 92% of the pieces from one, and the most of the rest from the other. One piece that I couldn't get hold of on any store in the UK was the little Star Wars Lego logo piece that goes on the front of the bottom of the stand. But I just looked for that on eBay, and I found a store on eBay in the UK that had 10 of them for sale, so I ordered one of those. That was £6.58 for that one piece. But the parts, so the 92% of parts, that was £22.77 including postage, all in. And then the second one here was £5 at a penny including postage. I think there's about 8 pieces in there. So that's all of those. One thing I did to offset the cost is the hallway set comes with a limited edition Fives clone Drooper minifigure, and I sold that on the same Facebook group that I picked up the set from originally for £15, and that was £2 postage to send, which sort of offset. So I made £13 on that, which I've offset against the whole cost. So the last thing that I needed for the set is a quote and a quote plate that goes on the front. So I have a store that I use on eBay that I've gone to print out the nameplates for these ships up here, and they're called Lego bricks. And I messaged them on the Friday, which is when I was doing all my ordering, and I asked, do you have, or do you print quote plates, because they didn't have it on their storefront. And they replied in about 20 minutes saying, yeah, I've done that. He sent me some photos with previously done like quote stuff, and they even print the this piece if you want as well. I mean, I bought an official one, but they print that too if you need. So you could get the whole front bit done by them. And that plate was $11.95 for the quote. But I had to decide on a quote as well. So there was a few thoughts that I had about what we could do. So in the beginning of that scene, you get C-3PO saying,
"There'll be no escape for the princess this time."
So the other thing I was thinking was Leia says,
"I'm a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan."
Or some stuff that Vader says to Leia as well.
"You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take it away."
But when you actually look at the set, it doesn't have Princess Leia, it doesn't have C-3PO, it doesn't have R2, and I thought it would be weird to have a quote from a character that isn't actually in the scene. And again, actually trying to work out what scene, like if you look at the intro to, you know, the film they break through, there's not really any dialogue there. You know, there's a lot of shooting, there's a lot of people just falling over, explosions, things like that, but no one really talking at that point. So yeah, I was looking at what the set contains, and actually I think there's an example in the box. If we look on, there's a little picture here with, actually it's like, is this scene. So Vader is holding up the captain, choking him, and they're having that conversation, and there's a couple of rebel troops like knocked down on the ground. So that scene is the one that I thought I would go for the layout. So I needed a quote from that. So I went with,
"This is a consular ship. We're on a diplomatic mission."
which is obviously a lie, but it's the quotes from Captain Antilles. I did think about some Vader quotes, but you know, he's on a few anyway. So you know, I went with Captain Antilles there. Sort of, he's in the center being choked, and you know, he's saying, you know, why are you attacking us? We're on a peaceful mission. So that was the one I went for. I haven't actually taken out the bag yet, but I'll have a look in a minute. It looks pretty good. Maybe we can do a comparison to one of the others as well. So anyway, I haven't really gone through these bags yet. So this hopefully will work. We can switch scene here, and I've got a camera set up for the pieces. So that's the logo plate. Let's have a look at the quote. Just getting out of the bag. So yeah, you can feel that it's there's something printed on top of that. It's not smooth like the Star Wars like official Lego print is, but in terms of how it looks, we're going to get a focus. So I don't know if it will focus. Okay, it looks pretty good. So that's going to be sat on the front alongside this piece here, and then the second box here. This is from, I forget the name of the shop now. I'll mention them in the description. Oh no, we have a card here actually. So that's okay. So let's open the box. We got one of those plates, and get the light a bit better on there. And this bag of pieces here. So yeah, these are so Mr. Brickster, that's the store, Mr. Brickster. So these guys they had my order ready and they dispatched it on Monday, and it showed up today, which is Wednesday. So ordered Friday, dispatched Monday, arrived Wednesday. So pretty good turnaround. I didn't order a lot. These pieces here, these are the ones that were there's an alternate mold or there's something different about them. Which I don't know whether that messed with the algorithm on Rebrickable or not, but it felt like, I had to search. Well, because actually, yeah, that's what happened. I went onto a store, and this store had, all of these pieces, and they didn't have these five, and these were the things that were left over. So when I went onto the store from the basket, I searched for these and actually did find. And I actually did find them and add 5 of them on. So I don't know whether there's something weird going on with that particular part, whether the code is different on the on the instruction set that I bought. Oh, that's another thing actually we need to talk about, is that I obviously have purchased the instructions from Rebrickable, and that they're $2 for that, so that'll go onto the total cost as well. So yeah, I'll do a total somewhere, hopefully, and we'll see that. But it comes to about £70, which is on par with just buying a diorama set. Anyway, this is not focusing terribly well, so I don't know whether you can see, but as I said, these are second-hand parts, and I really don't see any issues with any of these. Obviously, this is the smaller set, but we got the other box here. We can have a look. So this order, this is the bigger one. We got a lot here. Now, these were, I think it's Louis bricks, and again, these are secondhand. This store, they picked and dispatched this lot about 2 hours after I placed the order. So this was the £22.77 lot of parts, and yeah, as I say, they had it dispatched by like 2 hours after I placed it, and well, I mean, as I said, they kept you informed. They basically got an email saying, "Oh, we're picking your parts," and I got an email saying, "Oh, your parts are picked and they're ready to go." And then I got one saying, "Your order's been dispatched," and and that showed up on the Monday. So they dispatched it Friday afternoon. I suppose when it arrives is kind of down to the postal service, obviously, but like I say, they weren't sort of making it up. They definitely dispatched on Friday because it was there on Monday morning. So that was awesome. So yeah, that was Louis bricks. They were the top one on the video from earlier where I was looking through the stores, so you can see that there. They didn't give me a card, but again, I'll put the name of them. But obviously, if you're trying to do this, you might find a different store that is better. But I would say for now, I can recommend both of these two. Again, these are second-hand parts, supposedly, but in terms of how they're second-hand, I don't really know. But there's nothing. There doesn't seem to be anything obviously wrong or marked or dirty or anything about these pieces. So I'm pretty happy about all of that. And yeah, with that, I should now have everything that I need to put together the full build and show that off to you. Oh, and one more thing, actually, let's have a look at the quote plate compared to one of the official quote plates, or a couple of them. I'll be right back. I'll just go grab those. So we got the one that I just had made. I know you cannot feel this, but this is smooth and this is smooth, and this one here is, you can feel that there is something attached and put on top of that. I've left a fingerprint on it. Don't worry, I'll get them cleaned up. But in terms of the way they look, you can see that obviously the size of the text on each of them changes anyway, depending on how much is there. the quote, like the name of the person and the quote marks are in a slightly different and more obvious color. You can see this is not, this is quite light compared to the like Han Solo on this one here, which is, that's much more dark than this here, which, you know, it is darker. It's not bright white. I know the camera kind of makes it look a little bit bright, but actually it's not. And you know, so obviously this is not perfect, but it's also not official Lego. And for me, I think on the shelf there's a decent amount of distance between each of the display pieces that you're not really going to notice. There's, you know, I don't have anyone else to recommend or check out, but if you have a better or different suggestion, then you know, please comment and let me know. But genuinely, Lego bricks, if you are looking for a decent piece printed for a MOC or something like that, I've gone to them a few times. I actually have one here for, do I? No, I don't. I have a couple that I haven't yet built for some of the Starship collections, such midi scale, which but yeah, they're great. I'll put some pictures of those up along. I already have put some pictures of those up. So yeah, I'm gonna get this built and then I'll come back and we'll look at the final product. So welcome back. I have finished the build and it is really nice. I am really happy with this. It just looks like it goes with all the other dioramas. The pegs on the floor are nice to get the guys laying down there. You've got a little slightly embellished scene of Vader holding up Captain Antilles with the Force, like rather than actually having his hand around his neck. I mean, I could change the things around so it was on his neck, but I just went with the one on the box. I haven't put the 25th anniversary thing on there, but I haven't put that on any of the other dioramas either, and I just want it to match with mine. So yeah, the guns are loose, you can maybe hear them rattling around, but you know, quote plate, layout stuff. This door actually slides, so you can have it in a closed or open, and it's really nice. So some thoughts on the process and some things I want to mention. Actually, the instructions for this particular diorama, the one for Majora, it wasn't paid for. It was free. So I mentioned that I needed to pay for it earlier. Probably addendum that anyway on the video, but basically, yeah, it didn't cost anything. But there's a kind of a caveat to that, in that some of the other instruction sets that I have purchased were through a few dollars, and they were in a PDF of instructions that, for the most part, were very easy to follow instructions. And I had issues building this set because there wasn't a PDF. So there's it's called an IO file, I think, and it's for Lego Studio from Bricklink's Lego Studio. So you have to load it up in their software to see it. Let me just show you that. So this is the file loaded up in the editing software, and as I said, it's free, so I'm not like giving away anything or like secret information or something. It's free on Rebrickable to get this instruction set, right? So I'm like, well, how do I actually build it from these instructions on here? And there is a button up here that says instructions. So I go over to instructions, and what I'm presented with is this. Okay, now I'll get to my mistake in a second, but basically I'm like, well, how on earth do I build it from here? Like, it's step one is literally the base, and then step two is add a bunch of stuff to the base. Okay, so it's like this. Now I built it using this. You can actually, down here there's like a sub model thing, and you can look at the steps for the sub model. So then you go through here. And the biggest problem I had with this is like, well, okay, a Lego instruction that just says put a bunch of stuff next to each other without clicking it together, and then a next step where it puts some edges around it, but still like this piece here is floating, and and actually like this piece here is floating as well, and this section isn't connected up to this section at all. So it's very not like intuitive. I followed it like this, like you just kind of have it there and then add the bits on until it starts to get more solid, and then you go back to the main thing and carry on with the steps. And this is how I built it, right? And there was quite a few problems with that. Like you'd get to the sections where it was like, okay, now there's a sub build. It was really tricky to do. Now, a couple of points to make about that is, one, this is free, right? So I am not complaining to the creator of this at all. It's a really cool model. I love the way that they've made it fit well with the other dioramas, the shape of it, the way that they've kept a lot of the original design from the hallway. I think it's really good. I really like it, but I found it really difficult to build, and I'm just mentioning that because I made a bit of a mistake actually, because what I didn't realize is when you go to the instructions page, there's a tab up here that says page design, and this basically gives you a Lego instruction bat thing. So here's step one. Again, I don't think this is that easy to follow, because look, you get these, and then it's like when you look at step two, this, I need to move this out of the way to see what's happening. But and also like there is still floating pieces here. This instruction set is not following through steps that would, like a classic Lego set would, where you're connecting the pieces up. Most of the time, it's not doing that. But this is slightly easier to build in page format. It shows you the pieces in Lego work format. You can move bits around in here, and you can see where things go. The only thing is with this step editor, with this, you can move around everything, so you can get good angles of where things are and which parts they're connected to, which that's way better in some respects than a normal Lego set, where sometimes you can look at the perspective and not work out exactly where a piece is meant to go, just quite, because of the way that the images are like isometric or whatever. So there's pros and cons. Like the thing that I really, really am stressing here is this creator has made a cool set that I was completely capable of reproducing, with these instructions, and they're free. You do not have to pay for these instructions. They're online for free. So some of the other dioramas, people do have prices. There's a couple of dollars for a few of them. And if you like those better, then I wouldn't say don't go for those, because you're probably going to get a PDF instruction page with those that is much easier to follow. So that's where you're paying the cost for. I was going to say premium there, but it's not premium. It was $2. So these creators, if I could have given this creator the $2 to have the PDF to follow, 100% would have done that. Because, well, just because, like I say, it's a really good set, and trying to use a studio was a little bit more difficult than a regular build would have been. But I don't want to discourage anyone, because, like I say, it's not that bad to use, and obviously I made it using this thing here, but there's also the page design system set up, which you absolutely could have followed through here, and it's really not that tricky. I don't know if this is correct or a mistake in this set, but actually, if we just go back to the I don't know how we get out of, in terms of parent, how do we get out of instructions, exit, look at the full model. Here we are. There's, in this set here, in this 1x2 brick here, 1x2 plate here, it's just white, and you can see there's just a white one there. Now on the set, on the official set, these two bits have a little red brick light in there, right? And on this set, the brick lights, the red like trans lights, they are in here, but they're inside these walls and you can't see them. So I don't know whether that was a mistake on these instructions or not. They've hidden them away. Maybe they deliberately have cleaned up that there. But on my version, I've actually put those. Oh, you're not going to see it from there. Hang on. On my. Oops. So yeah, on my version, I've actually added the trans red to 1x2 bricks in. If I go to this scene, here we go. You can see them there. Like that is part of the actual Lego sets design for those columns there. So I don't know why they were placed on this. Maybe deliberate because the designer thought it was cleaner or what. But I put them back in. They obviously have the option to do that. Yeah, like overall, like I say, the process has been really good. I'm happy with it. I'll mention as well that I have a pot of pieces here, and these are all of the leftover parts from the original boarding set. So we bought a lot of extra parts to make the base and things like that. There's a whole tub of extra bits there. So I talked about selling the 5s minifigure to get a little bit of money back. I don't know whether those parts are worth too much and whether anyone would bother, but there's definitely extra bits left over that you could either use for extra other MOCs or sell. So there's a little bit more value there than just the total cost came to. So overall, that's the whole experience. I guess we found a MOC that we want to build. We've bought the extra parts for it that we need from the original to add to the original set. We've built it. I actually just on mine I added a couple of bricks here to hold the lightsaber behind. A lot of the set, the Lego official set pictures have Darth Vader with his lightsaber, but you don't see him with the lightsaber in this whole beginning of the movie. Oh, sorry, there is another thing to add. The pieces that have stickers on in the original set are represented in these instructions without stickers on. That's, I imagine it's quite difficult or probably impossible for a designer that's using, stock brick parts to be able to represent sticker pieces. So I had to, you have to realize that when you're building this, if you look at the original set, there are stickers on these back column pieces there, and there's a sticker on this piece above the door. So yeah, if you do have the original set and you're building it from using the Tantive boarding, then just know that the stickers might need to go on in certain places. And the other one as well is the door piece. This door here, this white big square there is actually printed with the door on it. So you'll see that obviously in here they don't have the design. Interestingly, they do have the design for the Star Wars brick. I'm guessing it's just a popular one that they were able to have the graphics for. But so yeah, I think that sums everything up. We went from finding a set that we wanted to build, finding the pieces that we needed in addition to the official Lego set in order to build it, ordered a quote plate, ordered the extra parts, and built the set from the instructions, and that's got us to where we want to be. What's cool is you can't exactly see, but behind me I have the trash compactor and Death Star trench runs, and this one is going to go in on the left on the left of that shelf. So we have like a New Hope kind of progression of scenes going along that shelf with this one to start. So that's really why I wanted to build this, and it's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, I'm going to be uploading to my Instagram, which I'll put a link to in the description, a speed build of this, which is, I do a top-down camera view of all the parts going on as I'm doing it. Those go onto my reels, so this will appear up there as well, along with the ones for all the other builds behind me. But that's it. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you are still here and you liked it, just leave me a like. Truthfully, I wouldn't bother subscribing to me. I basically never make the same sort of content more than once anyway. I'm not trying to become a content creator. I just like to try my hand at making the odd video here and there. So hopefully this is useful to you. But yeah, I wouldn't bother subscribing. I mean, if you like cryptic crosswords, you could follow me on Twitch. But otherwise, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good build experience if you're planning to make a MOC. And actually, do let me know, comment. I'd love to know which MOCs you're building and whether or not you found any of this useful. So thank you very, very much, and Goodbye.